So we're going to try to sort of bring up some more topics in our series of videos, and we want to talk about some of those subjects. Now, it was funny, we were just talking that whether you believe in climate change or not, there's going to be a lot of legislation, policies, worldwide activities that are going to go on that are going to affect us, you know. So one of our segments is going to be on policy and legislation, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, so we'll talk.
They're just starting to come out. So we have a new administration here in the United States.
Oh yeah.
And so we're going to start. We're going to start passing a lot of laws, or there's going to be policies that are coming up. So
yeah. Joe Manchin, if he lets it go, it'll be a big one there coming. So there's a lot of funding that could come out of this too, and a lot of changes that may affect. You know, again, I'm worried about being in a free country. We need to be able to be free. I don't, as an engineer, I don't want to destroy the oil and gas industry when we're not quite ready to switch over to solar energy just yet.
So that brings it into one of the things we were going to talk about is life cycle assessment. So
that's another thing. Yeah.
I think these things are necessary, but they need to do it the right way. And so part of that is making sure that it's going to be sustainable, and that means doing life cycle assessment studies. And they've done those a lot, but I think we need more of that effort before we start to do large-scale changes like we're talking about.
Right.
Just cutting off the oil supply is not probably the most
answer right now.
You need to transition into it, So that's kind of the...
So after we talk about policies, we're going to talk about life cycle and sustainability, life cycle analysis and sustainability, because that's a very big factor that people need to consider on how we're going to do this smartly, right? And then after that, we want to talk about some of the carbon markets and carbon credits, carbon offsets, sinks versus, things that produce more carbon, stuff like that, right? So that's a big deal. That's going to be coming up as more and more government start to do offer carbon credits. And then there's also the private ones and the business ones out there that are trying to buy and sell trade some of these carbon credits, right?
Yeah, so that's kind of the thing in the world, how the world's going to deal with decreasing these emissions is by doing these carbon markets.
Right.
And part of the carbon markets is generating carbon credits that different people can do. And then there's also the regulatory markets, which are cap and trade. So those can happen. Offsetting is going to be a big scheme. So that's like how you achieve maybe net zero would be through offsetting.
Scheme is right. No, that's true. And we'll talk about some of those people, companies say, we're going to be net zero, and what that means, right? So.
Yeah.
And then lastly, or not lastly, maybe, we're going to have a video on decarbonization and sequestration. So what some of the best practices we can do.
Yeah, so offsetting these schemes like you were talking about, that we're talking about, the carbon markets, the carbon credits, that's partially the answer, but the only true way to do it is to do decarbonization.
Right.
And so really that just means that you're preventing all this carbon dioxide from going in the air. You're taking measures either through technology or your lifestyle changes or whatever, that you're preventing carbon dioxide from getting out to the atmosphere in the first place.
Yeah.
That's really the only way we're going to be able to do it. So we have all these offsetting schemes, like someone else can reduce their emissions, but someone else can just keep, producing their emissions. So that's the offsetting. That's how that works. But
yeah, no, that's right.
We need and in fact, a lot of people say that this isn't going to be possible without deep decarbonization. They call it
deep decarbonization.
Deep decarbonization. So we'll talk about that later on. But there's one thing you also forgot too, with you forgot that we're talking about the life cycle analysis, but that goes in with sustainability, and sustainability reporting is going to be a big issue, or it already is a big issue, but something we want to talk about more, because in the business world it's going to be a big deal. It already is. The international organizations want to have businesses that are going to be able to contribute to reducing the global warming and improving climate change. So if you're not a business that's doing that, you're not adding to the solution, so to say. So, but I mean, it's going to affect the regular business anyways, because that's how business is going to be done, is through environmental stewardship. So part of that environmental stewardship is reducing your carbon footprint, emissions and all that. So sustainability reporting is very important to that.
Okay.
And it not only is this with the carbon dioxide emissions, it's with pollution, with your use of resources, your efficiencies. This is all part of sustainability reporting, which is very important for, it's important if you're an investor or you're a customer too. You want to know if that business is being a steward to the environment, if they're helping out or, they're proving how they're helping out. So yeah, it's an important thing, the sustainability reporting that we're talking about.
Right, and that sort of goes to our point is, why should we care about all these terms and what all these things mean? Because the whole thing is, what's in it for me? Why should I be concerned? And then you can say, well, because this is going to be imposed on us in a sense. At some point we're going to have to try and figure out the best way to deal with all these things. As a good, responsible consumer, you may want to buy from a company that's being responsible as far as then their sustainability reports, right? So you can make these choices and you can help. And consumers, people, they drive a lot of things. If everybody decides that, hey, I'm going after, I'm really going to support this company over this company, and then with social media, they go, oh yeah, that's great, we should, because they're more responsible, then all the companies going to go, hey, I got to get in line, right? Because I don't want to lose business. And so there's a lot of ways that people can affect positive change, I think, in all these things, and especially when it's coming down. Plus, maybe you're going to be in a company that is now getting imposed these laws on them, and so you might have to be assigned to a team that says, hey, what are we going to do, And so you're going to have to figure out how to help them as well as part of as an employee of that company. And so there's a lot of ways that I think it's important for everybody to know these things.
So that's how that's why we're bringing up life cycle analysis or life cycle assessment and environmental management systems. We'll talk a little bit about those, but those are the vehicles you use to generate the information necessary to do the sustainability reporting, but you have to show that you're making an improvement every year, what you're doing to make that improvement. And so that's where the life cycle analysis or the life cycle assessment studies come in. But they all also help with these policies that are coming about. We need to let the the governments know, you need to be smart about this, you need to do this the right way and do these life cycle assessments to make sure that we're going to be able to do the transition right.